today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome to episode 105 of Shop Talk. It's Jennifer.
And Carrie.
And we're finally back with a new episode. Thank God. Oh my gosh. It seems like all is right in the world with the rookie being back. I mean, except for Chenford actually breaking up and Tamara leaving us. But, you know, it's fine. This episode was good and angsty with a hint of cringe at certain times. I mean, I'm sure we all know who that's referencing. But first we have some news to cover and we'll get into the episode recap then. First bit of news is the rookie is renewed for season 7. Yay!
Yeah.
Yay!
I mean, obviously we already tweeted about this, but
Right.
listen, it's been, 3 weeks. We're catching up.
And like, if you don't follow us or anyone on Twitter, Instagram, whatever, like, it's still news that we wanted to share. Yeah. But obviously, I mean, congratulations to the cast and crew. We're so excited for them. But obviously, that means you're going to get another year of Shop Talk too, because you can't get rid of us at this point. Like, we're here. We're here.
Yep.
And the announcement came a week after we celebrated our 3rd birthday, which was cool. I was kind of hoping that we would get the announcement on April 8th, but it's fine. But yeah, so that's exciting news. Can't wait. Yeah. Hope that it airs in September and not like another mid-season premiere, but you know.
Goodness, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how that would be with filming. Of course, they finished they wrapped filming when in March, end of March.
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe they could pull it off. I don't know. I don't know how all that works though.
Yeah, I wonder
if, they have to wait or
I wonder if after May, when all these shows wrap on TV, if they'll just go back into their normal filming schedule. I would think so. Start back in July. Because it's still their normal hiatus period. Yeah. If anything, they have a longer hiatus now too, because they only did shortened seasons. So I don't know, but it's crazy to think that we're on episode 7 and we only have 3 episodes left, right? Yeah. So
I know I keep forgetting that this only has 10 this season.
I know, and the seasons are just it's chunked out. There's 2 weeks off, 3 episodes, 2 weeks off, and it makes sense to line up with when shows usually end, but it's definitely kind of hard to keep track of. I was talking to my brother and he's like, the shows are just weird this season. Everywhere. I was like, yeah, I feel like it's part of the strike. But yeah, so season 7. I mean, that's so exciting. I'm so excited. Especially when it seems like shows are getting canceled left and right or on the bubble. It's good to just know that the rookie is good and we don't have to worry about it. So yeah. Do you want to take us through the 608 episode description?
Yeah, so we finally had that drop a little last week too, but it's titled Punch Card, and it reads, after a mafia-related mass casualty, the team is tasked to keep the peace at the hospital. Lucy and Selena work together to investigate the suspects behind the attack. Meanwhile, Tim and Aaron embark on a Metro Ops mission. Which, I mean, people were already saying, how is that possible when Tim got kicked off Metro? And honestly, same. I don't know how that's possible. Unless they have a time jump that I'm not aware of.
Or, they need him to be,
a consultant.
Just fill in. I don't know. But, I wonder if this episode could have had a slight time jump that we just didn't know, because they did say 2 weeks of Bailan trying to have a baby.
Oh, right. That's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then I mean, they never really said we Chenford broke up the night before. And I would think Tamara would need some time before she just automatically is moving out. So yeah, I think there probably was a 2-week time jump, because even with his jacket, Tim's jacket, he still had his sergeant stripes, but he wasn't demoted from sergeant. He was just demoted from Metro.
Yeah.
So who knows? If I was Lucy though, I would be pissed, I would be
Oh
pissed
yeah,
to
for
know
sure.
that he's off Metro now and like she like bribed Prim or whatever to like get Tim on Metro and now Metro's off and Lucy's not a detective. Like if I was her, I'd be pissed.
Yeah. Well,
But
especially since she had to go through the what 5-player trade. Like,
yeah,
okay, you're gonna go here if this person moves here, and then you're gonna do this, and even like
right.
she talked to Smitty for crying out loud,
Yeah.
to like see what she could do, with that, and just like I don't know.
I
I
guess
just
that
want
like
I don't
it could
know.
have happened at any time.
I mean,
It could have
yeah.
happened, but it's
I just
still like I don't know, I would be pissed.
Yeah, well, I just wonder if like they ever thought that, Chenford, if they were to break up, if Tim
Hmm.
was going to be kicked off of Metro, like when they were writing
Yeah.
trying to get
Yeah.
him onto Metro,
I
if
would
that was
kind
ever
of
a
like to
thought.
see her feelings on that. Like her kind of get pissed either at him or someone else. Like maybe she talks
Yeah.
to Selena about it and like she kind of lets her feelings out about it because I mean, it's a fair thing to be mad about. But like
Hmm.
also, I mean, yeah, Tim knew what he was doing was going to get him in trouble, but like also he didn't necessarily know the repercussions of it, that it would take him off Metro, I would assume. But I
I
would also
mean,
think he's not that dumb, so I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. Because he knew how bad it could hurt Lucy if she were to know about it.
Hmm.
So I assume that he had to know the risks. I
Yeah,
mean, it was just so ingrained in him to take care of this
yeah,
issue. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we'll see, more of his insight into Tim's brain if we actually see him in a uh, session with
yeah,
Dr. London. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. So, do you want to take us through the next bit of news?
Oh, sure. We just had, Eric a couple weeks ago had talked to Give Me Our Remote again, and we just wanted to run through a couple highlights because he's, you know, um super glad about how, strong the show is still, and it's, going in the end of season 6 and how it appeals to fans of all ages. And, he's never been a part of a fandom like this to this degree, especially not um in a relationship that's on air like Chenford. So it's a testament to the Chenford fandom,
Yeah,
um, and how dedicated they are. And then he had talked about the season 6 finale stunt again, just saying that it was, wild, that Bradford is in a full fight on a moving pickup truck, and
hmm,
we have Lucy coming to help, Angela coming to help, and obviously that'll force Tim and Lucy to work together again, after their breakup.
yeah,
And he had said that there are some major things that are revealed in the finale too. I love how even Eric calls it like the big bad. Like, because I
yeah,
know other people online were saying that, or you know,
yeah,
but anyway, so the big bad being exposed is, he thinks that some people might have an idea, but they may not know how deep it really runs. So it'll be interesting to uncover all of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just love when they do press because I feel like they don't do it a lot. And so when they do any type of press, like whether it's a video, interview, whatever,
Mhm.
like I'm just like, give it to me. Give me all of it, please.
Yeah. Well, it was cute to see the rookie cast included in that Make-A-Wish
Yeah,
promo on ABC
yeah,
too. Like have the whole
yeah.
cast there.
And then speaking of another exciting announcement, I added this in like last minute, but Sean Ashmore was announced for like, well, this past weekend he was at a fan convention, I think, in Dallas, Texas. I know he was at a convention in Dallas, Texas, but I don't know if it was like a fandom one. And one of our friends had a friend that met him there, so that was cool.
Mhm.
But then he was also announced for EpicCon Chicago 2 in September. So this will be like a fun fan convention event. EpicCons is the company that's putting it on. They've done numerous other events, and it's gonna be a fun time in Chicago, at like the convention center. It's like outside of Chicago, but it's a first responder theme. So there's like Station 19 cast members going, Grey's Anatomy, 911, 911 Lone Star, like One Chicago Suits, and maybe more from the Rookie. We can only hope. Who knows? But yeah, it's a fun experience. If you can go, I mean, we highly suggest it. We met at a fan convention
Mhm.
way back in 2019, which is so
Mhm.
crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But you'll meet fandom friends there. If you watch other shows, you'll get to meet those actors. It's just so fun to be at one of those, and Epic. I went to one in March, and I've been to another one, and they make them really fun and exciting and
Yeah.
inviting. So and it's really easy to meet people there because you're all there for like kind of the same thing. So
So yeah, you'll bond with people over just your
yeah,
shared love of these television shows.
yeah,
So it's pretty cool.
yeah. Yeah, so without further ado, I think we should just get into the episode though, because there was a
Yeah.
lot to cover.
Yeah.
First of all, I loved that it was only one case that everyone
Yes.
worked on. I loved that. And I feel like we get at least one of these a season.
Hmm.
And then when I was rewatching it tonight, I was like, I wonder if we're gonna get a true crime documentary in this season or not.
Oh, right. Oh
Hmm.
gosh.
I mean, like
Well,
side note, but yeah.
yeah, although what technically I guess they didn't it was what just three, four, and five they did them in those seasons.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But like
if not,
let's keep the momentum going, you
I mean
know?
that's true. Yeah. If not now, maybe next year.
Yeah.
That would be a good.
Next year they could just drop in two to make it up, you know? I
Yeah.
mean, at this point, like I don't know what the storyline will be, but like that's the best part of those is you just don't understand the storyline because it's like, wait, where
Mhm.
did this come from?
Yeah.
So yeah. So anyway, we'll start off with the missing girls case. So Nolan and Selena pull up to a house where the teen has gone missing from. It turns out that the mom, like who owns the home, whatever, got home from work and her baby was home all alone. So that's not good. The baby, like she checked the nanny cam and vouches for the babysitter, who's a really good kid, like would never leave the Olsen baby home alone. And so we're seeing just about everything through like body camera footage this episode, which is
Mhm.
always amazing. And we even like see Nolan and Selena's FaceTime with Harper and Lopez, which is really cool. And we see dash cam footage from the ambulance when like Bailey rolls up to Tim and Aaron.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
but John and Selena talk to Angela about Emma, and she doesn't have a record, even early admission to Stanford. Like this girl she's got a clean record. So they're thinking she was kidnapped, but John mentions that her car is gone, so she could have left her she could have left on her own volition. They do have a warrant in progress for her phone though, and Angela tells them to canvass the neighborhood, like do the usual things. And so then Aaron and Tim get the video that Nolan uploaded from the doorbell cam to their shop. I'm assuming that they just sent it out shop wide, but we focused on them. And they see Emma arrive, but they don't see her leave the front door. Instead, they see her car like pull out of the driveway. So Blair suggests that she didn't want anyone to know she was leaving and thought she'd be back before the parents got home, suggesting like she knew the person she was about to meet. And so they're gonna check with dispatch to see if there's a list of known associates for Emma created yet. And while all of this is happening, Blair's given her psych evaluation of this case, which was interesting to hear, but Tim wanted to hear
Mhm.
none of it. He was getting annoyed with it. It reminded
Yeah.
me of Nyla and oh my God, what was Fiona? Fiona, John's
Oh,
professor.
yeah. Hmm.
Like when she was doing the ride along with them, and Nyla
Yeah.
was like, I don't want to hear any of this.
Yeah.
Um, so Gray tells Lucy that Tim and Aaron are checking on Aaron's ex, and Lucy's like, she just seems a little peeved. And Gray asks more questions, kind of begrudgingly, which Carrie will get into later. But I just loved seeing Gray and Lucy riding together, and I loved seeing Gray out in the field more. So
Mhm.
then we go back to John and Selena, and she's going over like everything with Emma, saying she's babysitting to save up for college, and John's like shocked at how much things cost. He's like, back in my day, like all you had to do was give him $20 and do like a pizza from like a takeout shop. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, old man, like
I
let's
was
keep
like, yeah,
going.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, John, you are sounding like my parents right now.
Yeah, and I'm like, you might as well just say back in my day, and like I'm old. Like I don't know. I'm just like, I love you, John Nolan, but
Yeah.
like, come on, come on. But the way that his eyes like bugged out when when everyone was like, yeah, they make a lot. I was like, oh my God, this man like cannot believe it. I was
I
like,
mean, but listen, same though. I wasn't thinking anyone was
yeah,
pulling like
like
almost six
80,000.
figures. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, wait. But like then again, like if you're older and you have more experience, and maybe, I don't know.
Hmm.
I wasn't really a babysitter in high school and college. So
I was not either. My
so
sister was.
John,
I was not.
yeah, my sister was too. She made good money from it. Nowhere near like six figures. I don't know,
Yeah.
maybe, but so John like radios Angela and Nyla. And when John hears the answer to how much they both pay their nannies, he can't believe it. And Angela's like, with all the overtime that I pulled last year, yeah, she probably made like 80. And John's like, what? Which was hilarious. But also I love that they had like another personal conversation on like the shop radios. Like,
Yeah, and like even Lucy chimed in, and then like I was
yeah.
surprised Gray wasn't just like, okay, everyone, shut up and get back to work.
Yeah. I was I was waiting to see um I was waiting to see Tim and Aaron's response to that, and like
Mhm.
see if Blair was gonna chime in on that. I don't know, but it was
Yeah.
funny. Um and have we ever seen Gray in the shop when there was like another like conversation like that, like a side tangent conversation going on? I don't think so. I
In the
know the
shop?
delivery room
No.
one happened and he was like in the district, but
Yeah.
yeah. But it's always funny because it's like when they're looking for missing kids too, or at
Mm,
least the other one happened like that. But also they're happening at least once a season, and that's just so funny to me.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, so Grace or Lucy's like, yeah, I've made way more than that. And Nyla's like, things have changed now. Like you expect more of the nannies. And Gray's just done with this entire conversation. Like you see his facial expressions, and he's like, I'm over this. Um, but I think at this point, like he knows that he can't do much to like get them back on track.
Mhm.
So then instead, Angela pivots the conversation back and tells the team that Emma's last text was from Olivia and it says help. So Angela gives the rundown of Olivia to the team, sends Selena and John to her home address, and then Tim and Aaron are talking to Emma's ex, and Tim's like, nah, they held hands a couple times in seventh grade. Like, they're not Romeo and Juliet. So Blair checks out her Clip Talk account, and it's mostly photos of her and Olivia. So it doesn't really like show any guys on there. And Aaron suggests that maybe Emma and Olivia are the couple, and that would explain why Emma would drop everything for Olivia when she needed help. Um, can I also just say that I love that Blair's like getting in on all of this like police work. But
Mhm.
then again, like what else is she gonna do? Like she wants to help. She's not just gonna be like a bump on a log in the back seat. Um,
Right.
but also at times I was like, should you be helping? Because you're not a cop. Like, I get like she wasn't going out and like fighting crime, but she was also like kind of inserting herself into it. So,
Mhm.
but it did help that she was there. So Blair agrees and she's like, yeah, female friendships are intense at that age, and there's a lot of romantic feelings that start out as platonic love. So we see John and Selena arrive at Olivia's house. They speak to her mom, who's a piece of work, and she immediately asks what Olivia did, and she says, like, she's always at the Olsen's house babysitting with Emma. And John's like, well, they're not there and their phones are off. And the mom's like, well, I don't pay the bills, she does. So, I'm sure she'll turn up. So Lucy and Gray are checking out Olivia's Uber account and her last location, and they're at the last location she was dropped off at. And it's a rental house overseen by a management company, and Matthew Olson works for that company. Who saw that one coming? I don't know. But Emma's car is even there. And so Gray and Lucy go in and find blood on the floor and the pregnancy test in the garbage can. And so then Angela and Nyla show up. There's no sign of the girls there, but it seems like someone spends a lot of time there because there's takeout containers in the garbage, shampoo in the bathroom, like Olivia Ubers there twice a week. It's basically a hookup house. So according to the management company, the house is listed as under repairs and they haven't been showing it for the last 2 months, meaning Matthew knew he could come and go as he pleased and no one would look at it any differently. So Lucy suggests that Matthew and Olivia are having an affair. She tells them that she was pregnant and they get into a fight. She gets scared, texts Emma, Emma bails, and then she gets there and interrupts whatever that was going on. So then Gray's like, and Matthew knew that if he wants to keep his life, he has to silence both girls. And so Lucy reminds everyone that intimate partner violence is the #1 cause of death of pregnant women, and there's a gun registered to Matthew's name, which tracks with the blood that they found. So they have to like assume that both girls are alive until they can confirm it. And so they have to put out a bolo for Matthew. And so Air 3 is in search of Matthew's car. Well, Angela and Nyla have the wife, Regina, in the interrogation room. They're telling her what Matthew's been doing. She doesn't believe them. You know, she's like, Matthew's usually at work when Olivia helps Emma with the baby. And then Regina's like, but sometimes he does work from home. And he tells Emma to bring Olivia so it's less boring. So she starts putting 2 and 2 together. She's like, he would turn off the nanny cam. And Angela reminds her that they have to focus on finding Matt. So Regina's like, I don't know where he'd be. And she was like, I always thought he was at work. And so Aaron, then we cut over to Aaron, who's talking to Matthew's secretary, who says he never came back from his quote unquote lunch meeting. And so as John and Selena are driving, talking about a potential Bailan baby, they get a message from dispatch about a 911 call from Emma. And she doesn't know where she is, but she got away from assuming Matthew. And then she yelled, or no, yeah, that was Emma. I was getting the 2 girls confused. And then she yells no, and the line goes dead. So they end up getting a location on it, and they're in like a parking garage. They end up finding Emma dead. And so we then see Nyla and Angela arrive to the scene and take care of Sydney, their nanny candidate, who Carrie will talk about more later too. And it looks like Emma died from a gunshot wound to the chest. She got away, but like Matthew tracked her down. And so they are assuming that he could kill Olivia too, and her time might be limited. So dispatch comes over the radio, and Matthew's silver Ford SUV has been identified on traffic cams going towards Griffith Park. And so Tim and Aaron are the closest, so they'll be getting there first, but everyone's entering from different ways. And it was cool to hear them like, okay, Lucy and Gray were entering from Zoo Drive or whatever, like John and Selena were entering from another one. And so Bradson's driving, a girl like runs out, flagging them down. It's Olivia. She immediately tells them, like, she doesn't even wait for them to get out of the car. And she's like, he killed Emma. And she has like something hanging from her wrist, like a tie, which that comes into play later. But she's like, I don't know where he is. I jumped out of the car. He was going to kill me. And so Olivia starts telling Blair that she tried to end things with Matthew, but like he wouldn't let her. So that's why she texted Emma for help. And the next thing she knew, they were tied up. And he said for them to be together, they had to run away. So Blair keeps reminding her that Bradson, like to tell Bradson if she has any idea where Matthew might be going. And she's like, I don't know. And she continues with how everything went down. She escaped and he got worse. Emma escaped and he got worse after she was gone. And he was driving like a maniac. And then Blair's like, okay, again, where did he go? And she like then points to a path to Lookout where they would go to be alone. And so Tim radios for Air 3 to keep a lookout, and Selena and John then respond to it. Rescue rolls up, Bailan, her partner. And Aaron's like awkward little wave and stance was great too. I don't know, just had to point that out. It was like, oh, that's kind of awkward, but it's cute. So, um, John and Selena find Matthew dead in his car. He's got like a gunshot wound and what looks to be like a blunt force trauma wound. Plus brain matter is all over, which is ew, gross. And he's in rigor, which I didn't get a chance to look that up, but we kind of find out later that he's been dead for 2 hours. So,
Yeah.
um, but Selena's like, how? He was just seen on traffic cams. And John suggests that at least his car was. They don't know who was driving it. And points to the question that there's something unusual about his head wound. The exit wound is too big, and it looks like he cracked open his skull more so than anything. There's hardly any blood in the car, and there's no way that he died in there. And so Tim, Aaron, and Blair roll up, and they conclude that he's been dead for around 2 hours, maybe, which means Olivia's been lying. And she's en route to the hospital with Bailey and Bailey's partner. So John radios Bailey and tells her that when they get to the hospital, they're going to do it 10:15. You can tell that Bailey's like entire demeanor changes.
Yeah.
And so Olivia hears that and asks what a 10:15 is. And Bailey just tells her it's for her safety, but is clearly nervous.
But like honestly though, you think that John would be like, oh, maybe I should like call. I mean, I guess Bailey is
Right.
driving the ambulance, but like that honestly hasn't stopped them before though. She's been on the job and they've like talked on their cell phones
Yeah. And like
before.
he
Like what in the
literally
world?
just talked on his, like
Right.
with the whole gurney mention. I don't know. That
Yeah.
was something. Which we'll get to that later because as I was rewatching it, I was like, oh, that's just too good.
Mhm.
So Tim and Aaron are driving and come to a halting stop when they see the ambulance open on the street. Like they just turned down a street and like, I don't know,
Hmm.
they were probably following the ambulance, but so Olivia, I guess, ran into the neighborhood after injuring Bailey's poor partner. Side note, is this like his second injury this season or like his
I don't even
numerous one?
know. I don't even know. Because I can never remember if like she's had the same partner like for more than an episode or if they
Yeah,
just keep getting injured when they're with her or what.
yeah.
I don't know. Probably. Probably. I don't know.
So
Never a dull moment though.
I know. So, and I'm just like, this poor partner. Like, if it is the same guy, okay, Bailey literally gets herself into danger the same way John does. Like, she's just there and it just happens. And
Mhm.
so this other partner is like, yeah, she has my knife. And so Bradson and then John and Selena are like on foot. They're trying to track her down, but all of the street names are changing like crazy, which it's like one street ends and it like goes into the next.
Yeah,
Um,
there were some weird streets, and honest to God,
yeah,
when they actually showed that there was a sign that said avocado, I about like died laughing.
yeah, yeah. So John and Selena find her. She's hiding behind a car. And she runs, but hits like a dead end and pulls the knife out. Backup arrives. Olivia like feels wronged by Matthew, and he told her that she was the worst mistake she ever made. She confesses that she wasn't trying to kill him, but like doesn't even know what she hit him with. And she was gonna bury him, but then Emma freaked out and was gonna call the cops. So Olivia killed Emma too. She drops the knife, they handcuff her. That's kind of that on that. But at the end, Selena's like, I know I shouldn't feel bad for her, but I can't help it. And John's like, yeah, I sympathize with her to a point, but she did kill her best friend in cold blood.
Mhm.
He's like, I feel bad for the wife, and now she has to pick up the pieces for both her and her baby. I mean, yeah, I feel bad for Olivia too, but also like, I don't know. I mean, whether she herself got into it or like he kind of manipulated it, she was still getting like involved with a married guy who had a kid. Like that to me, I mean, never works out well in the end. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it was something. It was nice to see everyone working on the case together.
Hmm.
And then like we got to see, I think it was just John and Selena, but like them turn on their like shop cams and like we got the preview of it. I was like, that's when you know that it's gonna be a good episode. And like when they're all focusing like on the shop cams. So but yeah, so Next is Bailan and the cringe. That's literally what I titled it in outline. Bailan and the cringe. Because, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we should just hashtag cringe or Bailan cringe or something. But yeah, I mean, the only notable points were the cringe moments. And like, honestly, we don't need them. We don't need them. They're gross. Like, not Bailan themselves. I mean, I don't know. Some people will beg to differ, but like, these moments are gross. So we start the episode. Bailey's driving John to work, so like his truck must be out of commission. I don't know. Also, I would have thought that she would have had like a, I don't know, like a newer car. Not that there's anything wrong with it, but like, I don't know. I just thought she would have. And so she's talking about like her temperature and like a mucus, and it's just, and John's even like mortified hearing that. And he's like, I did not know that. I was like, no, and we did not need to know that either. It was just, it was gross. It was all kinds of gross.
Well, then he like gets out of the car and then Selena mentions the thing about the espresso or whatever, getting
Yeah.
coffee. And then he's like, oh yeah, sure, no, we can do that. I'm gonna need like 4 more anyway because, I'm trying to get pregnant. I'm like, you're not trying to do anything.
Right.
Like you're like not you
Yeah.
specifically.
Oh my
But
gosh.
yeah,
It
and then I
was
was just like, okay, now we're just sharing at any point in time that he and Bailey are,
yeah.
trying to conceive. And I was like, all right,
Which, and
fine.
I'll get to this in my next one, but so then we have the ambulance hookup mention, which again, we did not need that. We did not need that. Also, I gotta wonder how it was for them to say those lines in front of the camera because obviously, for me, a non-actor, I would not be able to keep a straight face. I
No,
would be laughing the entire time. I wouldn't even be able to get it out, actually.
no.
But also, to watch that now, like rewatching it, and I'm like, that's on the shop cam.
Mm.
So someone has to review that, right? Like that's like the Chenford stuff with the Tim test and all that. So whoever that is that will have to review that will have a great laugh. And I just kind of hope that Smitty, if we could get scenes of Smitty just reviewing shop cam footage solely for his own research, that would be great. That would be great. That should be like a web series or something. Like
Yeah.
all the shop cam footage he has to review. But also, like, good thing it was with Selena and not Gray, because both of their reactions were great during the entire scene. But
Mhm.
Selena's like, oh my God, like, what am I hearing right now?
Yeah.
And Gray would have not put up with that. But,
No.
or he might have had like a funny, memeable expression and been like, what are you into? Like,
Possibly. Yeah.
um, but that's also way worse than the pooping while giving birth chat that they had in like season 3 because Jackson was around.
Oh my
Like
God.
that's
I
way
forgot about
worse.
that.
And I don't remember the other like radio chats that they have, but I don't know. That one tops it. The ambulance hookup. Like not even that was in the chat, but like on the shop cam footage. That
Yeah.
tops it. So then John's like, Bailey's probably in some contest with herself to see how fast she can conceive, which the fact that she can't even turn off the competition personality for that is kind of insane. Like she's like addicted to like competition and
Mhm.
contests with herself.
Yeah.
But, and then we had the end, which was like sweet, but still cringe because he was
Mhm.
like, well, when you get pregnant, like you're on your own.
Yeah,
No,
I was like, what are you
no.
talking about?
I was like, are you forgetting that you've went through this before? Like, if anything, you're going to
Right.
be more of a support
Yeah.
guide for her. I was like,
Mhm.
and
Like I
also John Nolan, that's just not the way to be supportive. Like,
right. I mean,
you're
like
on
if
your
it
own?
yeah, if it
No,
was supposed to be a joke, it wasn't exactly delivered in the most joking way.
no,
Like I
no.
didn't like yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know.
it was just not. I was like, John, that's no, that's not a good one. And also, no, you don't even joke about that. Like, no, that's even if it was delivered in a better way, that's still not a good joke.
Yeah.
No, like, Oh my gosh. But yeah. Again, we don't need a Bailan baby. I will say it for the umpteenth time. Like, yes, it would be nice, but also like we have Angela and Nyla, who are both moms and
Hmm.
first responders. Like, we don't necessarily need to see Bailan have one too, you
Yeah.
know?
Well,
Even like
especially
a
since,
foster kid, like I don't necessarily need it.
yeah. I mean, especially since we'll have, hopefully, maybe have Angela and Nyla's kids in a
Hmm.
scene, maybe before the season ends. I don't know.
Yeah,
Based on the next storyline that we'll talk about. I mean, maybe.
please. I
I
hope
don't know.
so. And I hope that like the kids become friends. I mean, they likely already are, but
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know. I love it. So,
Yeah.
with that, do you want to take us away with the Angela and Nyla search for a nanny?
Yeah. So we did have like 5 seconds of Lopez in the beginning for like the whole entire episode when Angela asked Wesley like how long he'll be before he leaves and um kind of wish we had, more than 5 seconds of Wesley and Angela, but hey, we'll take what we can get for Lopez. Um But then Angela, is also getting ready to leave and tells her babysitter that she'll be back, um, presumably somewhere between 6 and midnight. And Angela's like, yep. Um, but then a gun falls out of said babysitter's purse. And even though the woman has a permit, it's still not okay with Angela with, her young kids in the house. So she's abruptly fired. And Angela's on the phone with her mom and is like, Mom, can you come watch the kids? Because I just fired my nanny. So yeah, she doesn't have any time for that. Um, and so presumably Angela's mom does come over to watch um Jack and baby girl Lopez, who we still don't know the name of because even Angela walking into the living room was, telling Jack to take care of your sister. But no name of said sister yet. Um, and so at work, we see Angela talking to Nyla about her nanny issues, and Nyla sympathizes, saying how, two nannies that she was, considering got hired by other families before she barely blinked, basically, and then a third one flaked on their interview, so like she hasn't had much luck either in that department. Um, but she does have an interview with a different nanny candidate today and offers Angela to come along and help her with vetting them. And Angela's obviously like, yeah, sure. So she agrees to that. They do end up taking their interview on the road, um, just with, how the case is going. And everything, they kind of lost track of time. And so Nyla called their candidate Sydney, and so apparently she was cool with doing a quick ride along. Um, and they ask her a few questions, and we see, we learn that Sydney has a Bachelor of Science in child psychology, and she was working on her master's degree, but life got in the way, which kind of, goes along with how earlier in the episode Nyla had mentioned you want them to have master's degree, but also be, have a minor in musical theater,
Hmm.
as to entertain their kids. And so apparently Sydney is first aid and CPR certified and even took a Red Cross Wilderness Aid course. So if they need someone to treat snow blindness, she's got it covered. Um, but also it took me a minute to realize that or to remember that not all of California is sunshine all the time. Like there are, a few
Yeah.
areas of California where you can go
Yeah.
to get snow. But I was just like, snow blindness. Okay. Of all the
Yeah.
things to mention, I don't know, it was just random. Um, and Sydney can also speak Spanish, which is good. Um, and I don't know, I just always enjoy hearing characters speak Spanish
Hmm.
on TV, so that was fun. Um, And also bonus points for Sydney because she's never ridden in the back of a cop car before. So that's what they like to hear.
Yeah.
Um,
Imagine
Yeah.
going on an interview though for a nanny position with two cops and you're like doing a ride along with them. I
Yeah,
would be
and you're just
like,
like in the middle seat, like what is going on right now?
this is awkward. And also, like, you probably both have guns on you. So,
Right. Yeah.
like, yeah. But,
Yeah.
and then to even get like a personal escort back home in a
Mhm.
cop car, I was like, yeah, I would definitely be like, okay, I don't know if I should be like excited, thrilled, like what?
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And so towards the end of the episode, we see that obviously, Nyla and Angela both like her a lot. Um, Nyla knows that Angela and Wesley could probably pay her more, but then the offer to share comes up, so they're gonna do a nanny share, which is they split the pay. Like they split pay her salary, and then Sydney would babysit all three kids, Jack, baby girl Lopez, and Leah. And so that's kind of the agreement that they come to. Um, I don't know because it was just interesting though, because now it was like, I saw her first, and Angela's like, no, but
mhm.
I need her like right now, because
Yeah.
her mom's at the house. And so it was just kind of funny to hear them kind of start to argue, but then at least they
Mhm.
came to this agreement. So
I knew that
it
it
was
wasn't
good.
going to be very good, but I was like, oh, this is still, there's no one better for like the other one to kind of need support with, you
Mhm.
know?
Yeah.
Um, I, so when they were like, yeah, she'll babysit all three kids, whatever, I was like, okay, but what about Lila? Like, because she's still young. I mean, maybe she's like a little bit older now, but or like because Donovan might have her more. I don't know, but I'm like, what about her? And like this nanny share probably will work. But like what if they get off shift at like midnight and Leah's like over at Lopez's house? Like they're just gonna like wake her up and take her home. Like to me, I don't know. Kind of seems odd, but I would love to see them play it out more too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, that's true.
yeah.
Yeah, we just have to like see it
Yeah.
and what that would look like
It's
to,
gonna be so good. And if we could get like James coming in to like pick up Leah and like Wesley's there, like, oh my God, that just the best couples right there. I mean, obviously Chenford, but yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of Chenford, that's our last
My heart.
storyline that we're gonna cover. Well, we put Chenford angst and Tamara moving out kind of in the same um
Hmm.
category because they both affect Lucy in this episode. Also though, side note, I saw that some people were putting Chen Ford like with a space in between it instead of like just putting Chenford as the ship name because they're broken up. And I
No.
was like, I mean, I get it, but also at the same time, I'm just like, well, then why don't we just say Tim and Lucy or Chen and
Right.
Bradford? Because like they were still
Yeah.
Chenford even before they were together, you know?
Yeah. And like there's still two separate people. I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah, no. I will always say Chenford. Sorry, no
Yeah.
space in between. No.
Yeah, I still tweeted it as
Yeah.
hashtag Chenford last night. Um, but anyway, I digress. So we have Tamara packing up to move, and this was part of the sneak peek that we saw, and she wonders how she has so much stuff now since she used to live out of a backpack. And, Lucy says if it's too much to do right now, she could always wait a few days or a few weeks. But Tamara's okay. But she does ask Lucy um, if she wants her to stay, especially with everything that happened with the breakup. But Lucy plays it off as, she was just asking about her if she wanted to stay. Um,
Hmm.
and Lucy also mentions the going away party she's planning for tomorrow at a fancy restaurant at 7 p.m. And she's gonna have a party whether Tamara really likes it or not, because she wants to celebrate, this uh occasion.
Yeah.
And Tamara also asked if Tim really did get kicked out of Metro, and Lucy, confirms that yeah, he did. Um, and so then we cut to the next sneak peek that we already saw, which I thought was interesting that they like separated the two clips out when they were like back to back.
Yeah.
basically in the episode. Um, but anyway, so we cut to Tim taking down stuff in his former Metro office, when Sergeant Gray walks in and says that um Tim will be essentially taking Dr. London on a ride along, and Bradford is less than thrilled about that, but Gray, basically says that, well, he could mandate um, psych sessions instead, which Tim doesn't want, and so he agrees to do the ride along with Blair. Um, and Gray will ride with Chen, and they had gone back and forth, in terms of, oh, well, Gray's just going to observe Lucy, but Tim takes it as, Blair's going to evaluate him.
Hmm.
And so it's just kind of they're walking a fine line with how they're all
Yeah.
trying to check in on Chenford. Um, and so I don't know. And then like poor Lucy though, like literally it's not even like she hasn't even started her shift yet, and she like catches Smitty taking bets on the reasoning for her and Tim's breakup, which included, and I kid you not, having a secret child with Isabel, or Lucy cheating on him with Aaron, or Tim just cheating on her, period. And I was like, what?
What are the chances that like no one even bet on those, but Smitty had put them down on the sheet and he was like, here's the options.
Yeah, well,
Like
because like when
secret
Lucy snatched
child.
the clipboard from him, though, she was like, it's like 3-1 that she's cheating on,
Yeah.
Tim with Aaron, and like 5-1 it's something else. And I don't even know. It was just like so random and so not what I thought that
Hmm.
those promotional photos were going to be.
Yeah.
When we saw Smitty, um, and the, other officer, and then Lucy as well. I don't know.
And it's
Um,
just funny that it was with Aaron, but I guess he is the only other single officer, male officer, but I
mhm.
don't know. Also, like I was looking at his jacket, I was like, why does it say Smitty? That's just his nickname. I totally forgot that's his actual last name.
Yeah.
I was because
Yeah.
it said Smitty in like big bold white letters, and I was like,
Yeah.
that's like his nickname though. But
Mhm.
yeah, I forgot that was his last name.
Listen, I
So
always forget that his first name's Quigley.
yeah.
So, there's
Yeah.
that.
But
Um, yeah, and so obviously Lucy's upset by this and tells Smitty, that's inappropriate to, have this bet going on at the workplace. And he agrees, kind of apologizes for it.
the way that he's like looking around when she's looking at it, I'm
Mhm.
like, Smitty, you're just so funny. And literally for what? Like for
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. But poor Lucy's kind of beside herself about that, and so much so that she doesn't even speak to Tim when he tries to talk to her in the hallway, after leaving the break room where Smitty was. And so begins the era of Chenford not speaking at all and just being super awkward, um, about everything.
This
Yeah.
entire storyline just hurt my heart for Lucy.
Mhm. Yeah. Just like an extra, just like another tally mark and all the devastating things that she's gone through
Mhm.
in season 6 already. Um, yeah. So we see Aaron walking. He's just kind of, walking around in the division, and he happens to see Blair and asks what she's doing there, and she tells him that she's doing a ride along, and before he can ask, well, who's it with, Tim comes up and then tells Aaron that he'll ride with them today to go get the war bags. And I just love that when Aaron was, kind of like just sighing and was like, okay, great. And Tim's like, what? And he's like, okay, no, yep, that's that's good. And so but Blair noticed that Tim used Aaron as a buffer, and notes that this, could possibly mean, he has avoidant attachment style, aka he prefers surface level relationships or interactions, which could be contributed to a domineering parent. Blair, possibly thinks it's, Tim's dad, which Tim neither confirmed or denied. Um, But he did tell her not to expect much. Like he's not gonna, just spill all his secrets and tell her everything and just ride along. And she wants nothing more than to have a normal day during this ride along. And um of course, cue Tim and Lucy both getting their body cameras at the same time, and they're still not speaking. And
Hmm.
Lucy invites Aaron and Gray to Tamara's party in front of Tim, and I'm assuming obviously did not invite Tim. So that's just awkward. And like you
Yeah.
could see, because this was from their body cam footage too, like you could see
Yeah.
Tim looking at Lucy for a long moment, and you could see Blair watching Tim look at Lucy. And I was like,
Hmm.
there's just so many like
Yeah.
people in that one scene. So you had Gray kind of looking between the two,
Yeah.
and Aaron a little bit oblivious, honestly, because he was just like, yeah, sure, like I'll go to, the party or
Hmm.
whatever. But maybe he just didn't want to be in the middle of the drama for once because he kind
Yeah.
of already got in the middle of, Chenford
Yeah.
silliness before.
But then
Um,
like the way that like she invited Gray almost as like a pity invite kind of, and Gray was like, I'm okay.
yeah, it's
I've
like,
got plans with Luna. I'm like,
yeah.
yeah, I feel like that would be like an HR violation or something. Not like HR violation, but not like not
Well, I mean, I feel
okay.
like Lucy was just doing like, oh, right, and I should invite Gray too because he's also standing right there in
Hmm.
front of Tim. And then so it could further emphasize that she's not inviting Tim.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. But
It's just
anyways,
funny.
so yeah. Uh, and so they obviously, they go on about their business. Lucy and Gray's first call was about a woman whose boyfriend ghosted her by faking his own death and having his current girlfriend call her and pretend to be his distraught mother. So there was that. Um, and the woman goes on to say, how things made sense when she thought that her boyfriend was dead, but now that he's not, nothing really makes sense about their situation anymore. And this obviously hits Lucy hard, and she even asks Gray after the call if he hired these people to act out a scenario like that. And I mean, I tweeted the quote directly on Twitter, but Gray's not that invested in Lucy's personal life um to, hire actors to put on a show like that. And so throughout the shift in general, we see like Lucy and Gray, and then we go to, Tim. Well, Tim and Blair are mostly having the conversation. Aaron's also there in the car or the shop too. And so we kind of go back and forth, um, interspersed conversations between these duos. And so for Tim and Blair, it starts out basically with Blair observing things and Tim's kind of arguing the validity of those observations at first, because she, notes how breakups can be triggering for many men and can prevent them from, seeking help for fear of being seen as weak. And Tim, fires back basically how assuming stereotypical behaviors can lead to arresting the wrong suspect in police work. Um, and so, and then for Lucy and Gray, she like, even though Gray said that he wasn't interested in Lucy's personal life, he is if it affects her job performance. And basically, Lucy said that, Tim was emotionally unavailable, but doesn't really say anything more about the coincidence of their breakup and his IA investigation coinciding, even though Gray obviously thinks that there's a connection. And I'm like, Gray, you're a smart man.
Yeah.
You'd see through that a little bit, I would think.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but then we had Blair mention that, Tim and Lucy were friends first. And Tim replied that he was, her TO. And then, well, okay, well, when Tim had Aaron leave to go give the card back to the guy, um, Dr. London said that, Tim obviously has guilt about breaking up with Lucy, which could lead to self-directed anger, and if he keeps stonewalling her, she'll basically have no choice but to, like sideline him from, his job until she can perform a full psyche vow. And, then we had Tim be sort of revert to season one Tim a little bit and like just took his anger out on poor Aaron for
Yeah.
not being fast enough with said card. And I was like, dude, come on now. Like, I
Hmm.
mean, just like instantaneous though,
Yeah.
in the way that he went from the, sad to mad. But I don't know, man. A lot of people were talking about like Eric's face during the like part where Blair was talking about the guilt. And I was like, oh yeah, he looked so sad.
Yeah.
Like when I was watching it, Sans live tweeting, so I was watching it a second time. I was like, oh man, yeah, he really does look so broken up about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then again, a little bit later cuts over back to Lucy and she, is kind of wondering, um, if there's anywhere in the world that's safe anymore with, people like that in terms of, the whole Matthew and Olivia and Emma case. Um, and Gray notices that she's worried about Tamara being out on her own. And but he, reassures her that she gave Tamara the right environment to like grow from and like now go out into the world and be okay.
Hmm.
Which I thought was nice. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Also made me a little sad because she is leaving. So
mhm.
yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I
great.
know. Yeah. Um, And then, but obviously, Lucy, has a few more things she wants to talk about. And so she does kind of get, these things off her mind, including, wondering how Tim could just basically, let go of their relationship so easily. And, why did that happen? Why did he think that their relationship could be reduced to a cliche of what she deserves when that's, her right to decide, not his. Um, and I thought it was kind of interesting. I mean, again, it's probably just me reading too much into it, but the fact that they both used um like that self-destructive or destructive was like mentioned for both Tim and Lucy. Like she was saying how, if she wanted destructive, then that's, her that still should be her choice.
Hmm.
And not Tim's. And then, the next scene that we have with Tim and, or that we had with Tim and Blair earlier was, like lead down a, self-destructive path with the, self-directed anger. So I don't know, I just thought that was interesting that they both kind of had those word choices thrown at
Hmm.
them. Hopefully that does it. I don't want it to manifest itself for either of them, but I don't know, I just thought that was interesting. Um, and so then we had Blair, mention that the thing with Tim's army buddy must have been difficult, and Tim basically, replies that he's dealt with it and he's moving on, and Blair disagrees, saying that he's basically still kind of holding on to that because, a lot of his identity is wrapped up in being honorable.
Yeah.
And so that probably led to his self-esteem taking a hit. And she mentioned that these feelings have kind of caused him to punish himself in a way by denying himself something, or rather someone that brings him joy.
Hmm.
Um, and so, yeah, definitely a form of sabotage going on there,
Yeah.
for Tim, which, yeah, I mean, it was like good. I think she was like right on the nose with that, honestly.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that she had the guts to say that because I mean, it's very true. Um, and so we kind of leave that there for a second. And then we had Gray acknowledging that Lucy could have said all of the things that she said. She could have maybe, wanted to say that to someone else, aka Tim.
Hmm.
And she kind of nods at that. And so we're back at the division now towards the end of the episode. And we do see Tim and Lucy meet up in a different hallway. Um, and they do actually talk this time, albeit rather awkwardly. Um, because Tim kind of tries to, act normal, and just, asks if Lucy's clocking out for the night. And she doesn't really know why he's acting like nothing's wrong when they need to have an adult conversation. And Tim tells her that he can't give her that now. And Lucy says that obviously there's a lot more that he has to work on than she realized. And obviously she's not the one who can help him with that, basically.
Mhm.
And she kind of, I don't know if it's just like how, I don't know how to explain this. Like, I don't know if it's just how Melissa delivers the lines like unintentionally, if she like kind of
Yeah.
like runs it all together, as like a stream of consciousness almost for Lucy, just to like get everything out in like one breath and then
Yeah.
just like go. Or if it's, she's like intentionally doing that for Lucy's characterization or something. But either way, I just like, I don't know. I like it because it just fits really well with how she
Yeah.
like handles things. Because she kind of literally just like said all of that, turned around and walked away like before Tim could even
Yeah.
respond. Um, yeah, and so that's where we leave them. Literally, Lucy's leaving from the conversation. And she actually runs into Selena, and Selena had asked John earlier how much Lucy paid for rent because she's still, has terrible roommates, is looking for a new place to live, all of that. But John didn't know but he knew it was like rent controlled. And so in this scene we had Selena asking Lucy, if it's possible that she could, move in. And
Hmm.
Lucy says it's a good idea, that Selena should come to tomorrow's going away party and they can discuss logistics of all of that. And so we're gonna have the Selena and Lucy roommate era upon us, maybe
Yeah.
soon. Yeah.
Which is going to be really fun.
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm also sad that we got robbed of the Tamara going away dinner, but
Mhm.
it's fine. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited to see Lucy and Selena be
Mhm.
roomies. I wonder, I feel like we keep hoping for it, but it's just not gonna come because it's like gonna be 7 seasons later. But like, or six, I guess. But I wonder if maybe Lucy will blurt it out to Selena, like something about her and John, but I don't think so. I don't. I don't know. Part of me wants it. Part of me wants it, but yet I'm like,
Oh,
I don't see it. But if anyone was to find out, it would be Selena, and it would make the most sense because she's partnered with John. So,
yeah.
but maybe this will like lead to after Selena's out of her rookie period, like her and Lucy start working together. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like that
maybe.
would be a conflict of interest though. I don't know
I
if
don't
like
know.
I don't know if the like police force so like has a say in that or I don't know, but obviously not because Chenford dated. They were just in different
Hmm.
departments, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to know if Selena knows everyone else's moon signs too, because
Mhm.
earlier in the episode she had mentioned,
Yeah.
that Lucy's moon was a Taurus and, so she values her home life while also, keeping a steady work life balance. And I don't
Yeah.
know. I just want more astrology. I love those kinds of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. And it'd just be fun because, Melissa and Lissath recently, went on that um
Yes.
offline retreat
That looked so fun.
together. And so obviously their friendship is, they're in their bestie era. And so it'll be kind of
Yeah.
fun if, Lucy and Selena can have that
That looked so
on
fun. Oh
screen.
my gosh.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, this episode, it was good. It had a lot. It was sad for Lucy. I felt for her, but
Yeah. And then like listen, I can Because everyone else is like, oh, I'm so proud of Tim for, doing what I'll talk about
Hmm.
next. And I'm over here like, listen, I should be, but all I can think about is like, I am nervous now,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
so unfortunate. Um,
Yeah. Because not only is one officer involved, but two are. So,
right.
yeah.
Yeah. So the last kind of part of it is, Tim meets with Gray in his office to, hear what Dr. Linden's report had to say. And it basically cleared him, which he was surprised by because he acknowledged that he still had a lot of work to do. Um, and oh well, then we see Lucy go in tomorrow's soon to be old room where she's finishing packing up some stuff, and Tamara suggests, turning it into a yoga studio or an office or a meditation room. And this is where Lucy tells her that Selena may be moving in, but she'd kick her to the curb in a heartbeat if things didn't work out for Tamara in her new home. Um, and that if she ever were to need anything, Lucy said that she always has a home with her and they hug and
Hmm.
yeah, and then we were robbed of the going away party, which was sad. But
Yeah.
at least we got the homage to, their first interaction of,
Hmm.
Tamara stealing the car, was the best decision she could have
Yeah.
made. And
That's when I
I
started tearing up, honestly, because I was like, oh, we're getting that call back. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
they've come so far
they have.
in
Well, and just
three
like
seasons.
I've seen like the does it ever drive you crazy how fast the night changes meme or whatever, like with Tamara pictures. And I'm like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's actually like the meme that was used, but I remember seeing like the two pictures and I was like, this
Hmm.
hurts. Hurts. So
Yeah.
yeah. But
And then at the very end of the episode, we're back to Tim and we see him go to Blair's office, or I guess the waiting room outside of the offices, and he comes in as she's leaving for the night, presumably, and
yeah. It was like a
um
weird interaction.
it was, and it was
Wow.
just kind of funny how like both the doors closed like at the same time as she was
Yeah.
going out, he was coming into the space, and um he says that she's right and he is mad at himself, and she offers to see him tomorrow before his shift unless it's an emergency. um and he agrees to that before changing his mind, saying that maybe it is an emergency.
Hmm.
So they go into her office for, I'm assuming, what is his first session, because all we see is the door close and then bam, it's the end of the episode. Fade to black, done.
Yeah.
And I don't know how to feel about it.
Why did I kind of freak out a little bit when he told Gray, yeah, I'll go and see her? And I was like, or I'll start seeing her. And I was like, a context, buddy. We need some
Right.
context here.
But then he added like as a
Yeah.
patient, and I
But
was like, oh my God.
I was like, why am I immediately like thinking that? I don't know. It was just weird. But I was kind of surprised that Aaron kept it together. But
I
I
was too.
mean,
I was like, dang, he acted like better
yeah.
than Tim during the ride along.
Yeah. He acted like nothing even happened. It was like,
Yeah,
okay. But like maybe like it's been so long. I don't know. But I
maybe.
was like,
Yeah.
and I mean, he knows that that's a conflict of interest big time. So
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah. But I
But
don't
also
know.
it's like, come on. There's not one other therapist for the LAPD that he could go see.
Yeah.
I mean, like, and it kills me that I'm saying that though, because like, listen, I was here for having Eric and Danielle share scenes in the
Hmm.
episode, but then I honestly just think it was her expression, which is a blink and you'll miss it moment when as she
Yeah.
closes the door, there's like a slight
Like smirk or
smirk or
something.
smile or something as she kind of like looks up and then back down, and as this is all happening as the door closes, and that just like unnerved me for some reason.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I mean that in like the late hour of the session, but that didn't really bother me
Yeah.
as much as just like they're both just dressed so casually, and like you'd think like, oh, it would just be
Yeah.
two people talking, but then it's also like, well, we know that she recorded Aaron's session without his knowledge. Could the same thing possibly,
Yeah.
occur with Tim's? And like, I don't know.
I don't know. It's just weird. It's very
Yeah.
weird.
And I don't like that because you guys know I was in the camp of, oh no, she's fine. Like she's not she's not the bad guy or
Yeah.
whatever. But now I'm just kind of like, I don't know what to make of this and I don't know how to feel about it. So
Yeah.
still hoping she's not. Hoping it's just a blatant misjudgment of character.
Yeah.
But I really don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, and like it's kind of got to be wrapping up soon because they're on like episode 6 next week. So kind of got to be wrapping up soon. I don't know. But I guess we'll see.
Mhm.
Um, we did have some listener thoughts. So Newsboys 22 said, I really liked this episode, but all the Tim stuff just broke my heart. I love him so much, and it's hard to see him hurting. And I'm just so glad that he's finally working on himself. Hopefully he becomes a better person so him and Lucy can eventually work it out. Yeah. I don't know. He did come to that realization, but I also think it was kind of like you have to do this or you're not getting back to where you were.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was his decision and his realization, but I think he also loves the job so much that he's like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Like,
Mhm.
he's still, I think, gonna have some hesitation with it because it's just him.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm. Yeah. Stacy said, I really enjoyed it. I liked that they were all working on one case rather than it be a hot mess of calls that don't get proper storytelling. And it was also nice to have Harper and Lopez on a bit more, since they've kind of been lacking this season.
yeah.
Yeah, fair points.
Well, and just to see them like together too,
Mhm.
like all episode, they weren't like breaking up or like one was going one way and the other was going the other. So,
Mhm.
yeah. Francesca said, not sure if this is a controversial take, but I think this was the best episode of the season. Fair point, because I kind of think the same in terms of the case, I feel like. But she said the case was interesting and it's so nice to see them work on all on one thing. The Chenford of it all gave me hope that there is a plan in place for them to reconcile and for Tim to heal. The humor with Gray and with the nanny storyline gave us some lightheartedness that was needed in an otherwise heavy episode. Um, and they wrapped up Tamara's arc in a satisfying way. And she said, I feel like they're setting up Bailan for a somewhat angsty turn with the pregnancy and fertility, maybe. I think that would be interesting and different for them.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
true, right? Because Selena did mention the asking John
geriatric.
if there's a geriatric pregnancy. And I was just like, when she said there was any pregnancy over 35, I was like, oh my God.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I
And
was like, something
before
up
we
there.
started recording, I saw something about like how having a baby in your teens is like the new teen pregnancy. And I was like, oh, we can't win. We can't win
No, we can't.
because 35 is considered old and 20 is
Yeah.
too young.
Mhm.
So yeah, we can't win.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Paige said, my heart is broken, but I know it's gonna get better. Not sure what I think of that therapist though. I feel like she's up to something. Listen, Paige, I'm in that same boat with you now. I am. I don't know.
well, and then Megan said back to being worried about Blair again. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, and Shannon had said the rookie episode 607 was really great, fantastic as always. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
It was a good one to come back from. I don't know. I almost feel like this season has been really good. Like it's had some strong episodes, but I feel like with all the breaks, it's hard to like remember. So like
Oh
definitely
yeah.
gonna have to like go back and like binge it. And I
Hmm.
kind of feel like that's how I've been like with all my other shows too, because I haven't been watching live like
Hmm.
anything besides The Rookie. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like I just need to just binge it all over the
Hmm.
summer because the breaks make it hard. And then like not all of the shows are taking the same breaks at the same time. So it's like,
Yeah.
oh, this week they're off. They don't have a new episode. So yeah. But
Yeah.
do we have any other notes on this episode? I feel all talked
No.
out. So
Yeah, me too. I mean, I will say I appreciated the psychology terminology being used in the
mhm.
episode and like just all of that because I feel like they're like tackling mental health and they
Yeah.
at least they didn't, you know, veer off to the left and out of the blue with, Aaron and Blair,
Yeah.
like that was shut down. So that was good. And so hopefully they'll actually like have, I don't know. I mean, at least like men in therapy being a thing and being
Yeah.
something to see on television. Because
Yeah.
it should be more normalized and less stigmatized,
Right.
especially in the field that they're in. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, like there were a lot of storylines in earlier seasons that could have easily led to therapy. I mean, DOD
Mhm.
for Lucy alone.
Mhm.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I think that's about it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well, with that, you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _ or email us at shoptalktherapypodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. And we are also individually on Twitter as well. I'm at Carrie Hyman.
And I'm at JSark804.
And we are also on TikTok at the Shop Talk Podcast _ So make sure to follow us there too. And obviously we have our T Public store still. There's always a sale going on. So if you need anything, especially stock up over the summer, be sure to
Hmm.
check that out. And we will be back next week covering 608 of the Rookie, which means there'll only be 2 more after that, which is kind of
Oh,
crazy.
oh my God.
So,
It's so crazy. But I feel like, okay, wait. So next Tuesday is the 7th.
mhm.
So I feel like they won't have any more breaks
I
because
mean, I
it'll be
wouldn't think so.
608 and then 609 and then
Yeah.
610. And we'll wrap like the 21st of May, which seems right with
Hmm.
previous years. So
Yeah.
I think I mean, on a good stretch of episodes now. So that's cool.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll probably take another break, but who knows yet. So
Yeah, we all know.
we've been trying to take the breaks when the rookie does. So yeah. But
Mhm.
anyway, we'll talk to everyone next week. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Go get him, boo.